And for the record, I will call a roll call of the board members, starting with Ms. Smith, Pamela Smith.
Present.
Ms. Butler.
Present.
Ms. Davis.
Present.
Dr. Narini.
Present.
Ms. Sullivan.
Present.
Dr. Thor.
Present.
And I believe Ms. Jacqueline Smith is on her way. I'm here as well. So at the moment, we are here all but Ms. Smith, who should be joining us shortly. It is time to do the Pledge of Allegiance, and I'm going to call on a group of students both from Phoenix College and Phoenix College Preparatory Academy. I believe Anna, and I think I see that young lady standing, who is the PC United VP, is going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. So if we'd all please stand and join her.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
As the students are coming forward, I just need to announce we have one substitution, which is Dr. Britt for Dr. Lisa Armour as provost. And now we're going to turn to the student life reports from both, and I think we've got a combo of Phoenix College and Phoenix College Preparatory Academy, correct?
Yes.
Perfect. So I'm going to let you start, and as you work through, I have a list of presenters, but I think it'd be better if you introduce them. Okay with that?
Mm-hmm.
Perfectly.
Next slide, please. Good evening, President Bittersmith, members of the board, Chancellor Dr. Gonzalez, members of the CEC, and guests. My name is Galila Guzman. My major is biochemistry, and I plan on graduating of May of 2027. I am the president of PC United Student Government and represent our Phoenix College students. Next slide, please. PC students embody the campus core values, which are collaboration, community, fairness, integrity, leadership, and responsibility. We will speak about those values. It is my pleasure to introduce the Phoenix College Preparatory Academy Student Government as they present an overview of their year. Next slide, please.
President Bittersmith, members of the board, Dr. Gonzalez, members of the Shared Governance Council, and guests. My name is Berenice Flores. I am Phoenix College Preparatory Academy Student Body Secretary. I want to speak on behalf of Phoenix College Preparatory Academy's student body and acknowledge Ms. Thomas, our school principal, Mr. Boyd, our superintendent, and Dr. Britt, the Phoenix College president. I am speaking with Phoenix College Preparatory Academy student government officers, President Isaiah Glenn, Vice President Anissa Roman, Treasurer Evelyn Marquez, Secretary Harmony Lee, historians Natalie Ramirez, Cynthia Carrillo, and lastly, Ms. Starks, our student government advisor. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. My name is Arisa Roman, Student Body Vice President. I wanted to mention our shared values with Phoenix College. Phoenix College values high ethics like fairness and responsibility. And at Phoenix College Preparatory Academy, students strive to maintain equality. Our values are meant to empower students, teach them self-advocacy, and show them a collaborative community. Likewise, with Phoenix College, we want our high school students to go far. Next slide, please.
My name is Evelyn Marquez, Student Body Treasurer. Collaboration the Bear Way. Collaboration plays a big role in our school's ability to help students achieve greatness. Some examples of this include ACE, college classes, Capstone offering future careers and college readiness for seniors, and Arizona Association of Student Council membership. Next slide, please.
My name is Natalie Ramirez, and I am student body historian, and I'm here to present One School, One Community, and One Nation. In our Community Awareness Club, we participate in events such as St. Mary's Backpack Program and a school resource pantry. Our social worker, Dr. Harris, is the person helping us achieve these goals by giving us the opportunity to help our community back. And through her help, we are able to do community partnerships like with our Stugel, where we are able to help our community of students back.
Next slide, please. Oh, it's right there. My bad. Okay. My name is Isaiah Glenn, and I'm the student body president. I will be presenting Leading the Bear Way. Student leadership is a class that allows us to practice leadership techniques. It provides additional time to support student engagement at our school, such as brainstorming activities, developing committees, and holding discussions regarding the progress of our school and how we can contribute. Our student government activities give us a traditional high school experience in a small school setting with activities like homecoming, pep rallies, spirit weeks, and clubs. This semester's clubs include yearbook, culinary, drama, fiber art, community awareness, and the medical career club. Next slide, please.
Some of our blue and gold moments as Phoenix College Preparatory Academy include an A-letter grade from the Arizona Department of Education since 2017, with the exception of the 2021 through 2022 school year where we received a B. In our student leadership class, we participated in a school beautification project. In this project, we painted the school benches in school colors to boost school pride. With our club community awareness, we also participate in an annual Adopt a Street cleanup from 7th Avenue to 19th Avenue in Thomas, sponsored by the City of Phoenix.
Our school is on its way becoming an AVID school. We have been integrating AVID's program strategies to improve academic success. On the student body side, we also want to acknowledge the girls volleyball team for making the Cactus Region Championship semifinals. Lastly, student government is proud of our student advocacy. Last year, student government gave a climate survey and received feedback. With this, we as student government took action and proposed changes have been implemented this year. Next slide, please.
Looking ahead together, we hope to receive access to resources that help us support student nutrition and promote physical activity, receive more college classes that support our career interests and opportunities to maximize the spaces available to us, and more extracurricular activities, options offered for academic support and student engagement. Overall, we want to collaborate to make sure students are given access to materials that support success. Next slide, please.
We are open to any questions.
Before I do that, I just would not want to fail to mention, Dr. Narini, thank you. Having the Preparatory Academy students here was a great suggestion, so we appreciate that. And then let me ask at the moment, are there any questions?
A quick one.
I had a feeling you might have one.
From the high school perspective, are there any issues or concerns that the students have that you feel the board should know about?
President Bittersmith, members of the board, Dr. Gonzalez. Oh, sorry. President Bittersmith, board member Dr. Narini. We would like for you guys as board members to attend on to tour our school. If you guys would be open to come and touring to show you guys more of Phoenix College Preparatory Academy.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Great job so far, by the way.
Thank you.
Really nice job.
Appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you, PC Preparatory Academy, for your wonderful presentation. Good evening. My name is Ana Rosales, Vice President of Involvement. I plan to obtain my Associate of Arts and graduate in 2027. Next slide, please.
Good evening. My name is Anthony Guerra, Vice President Communications. I plan to obtain my degree in dental assisting and dental hygiene and graduate in 2027. Anna and I will tell you about PC students or how PC students serve our community. Next slide, please. Our students regularly participate in our various events that support our community both on and off campus. They regularly clean the streets around PC. They support our food distributions and came together around the table with their peers at the recent Friendsgiving gathering.
One of our annual signature events, Monster Ball and Trunk or Treat, let us collaborate with organizations like Trader Joe's and Whataburger to build connection and trust with our community. Student clubs are able to share what they are learning in their fields of study with those in attendance. For example, the dental hygiene students share proper brushing techniques, and education students take time to read stories to children. Next slide, please.
Good evening. My name is Felix DeLay, Vice President of Academics. I plan to obtain my bachelor's degree in information technology and graduate in 2028.
Good evening. My name is Jared Joyner. I am Vice President of Student Advocacy. I plan to obtain my degree in music business and graduate in 2026. Felix and I will tell you how our PC students are empowering and engaging others. Next slide, please. This semester, the Empower Leaders Inspiring Transformative Excellence Club has hosted various workshops to learn about financial wellness, healthy relationships, and have honest discussions to improve communication skills. These events are helping the club live up to the name, inspiring transformative excellence.
Our Women United Club hosted their annual Success in Style fashion show using our PC students as models and partnering with the Be Beautiful organization to do color analysis on all in attendance. Student clubs are taking responsibility to empower their peers to be better leaders. Next slide, please.
Good evening. My name is Ludwig Chavez Gonzalez, Phoenix College student senator. I plan to obtain my Bachelor of Science degree in Public Safety Administration with a specialization in criminal justice and graduate in May 2026. I will tell you about the celebrations and championships at Phoenix College. Next slide, please. Phoenix College is celebrating the receipt of a $25,000 grant from BHAS Legacy Foundation to support the Bamstead Resource Room. The award was made in honor of the Foundation's 25th anniversary and their commitment to improving the quality of life for all Arizonans. Next slide, please. We are celebrating our PC men's soccer team as they earn their first NGCAA National Championships. Their team displayed outstanding chemistry and veteran leadership, which led them to end their season with 22 wins and 1 loss and 1 tie. Great. For Coach Cameron, lifting the trophy outside his son created a legacy moment that will be remembered through PC athletics for generations. Let's go, Bears. Next slide, please.
Thank you, Ludwig. We've got one last exciting thing to share. As student leaders, we want to speak up for real student experiences, what actually helps us and what feels meaningful. We all want to see more of our classmates make it across that graduation stage. That's why we teamed up with PC faculty and staff to help shape a new visual way to show the student journey. We joined a focus group of students from all different majors and backgrounds, and we shared real talk about what college feels like and what kind of message hits home instead of sounding corporate or cheesy. Phoenix College has been here 105 years, right in the heart of the city, and we are the next generation of Bears, bold, strong, and moving forward together. The students took our feedback and connected it to PC's history, including the original Bear Tracks yearbook and our 1948 seal. And now they're expanding Bear Tracks from just orientation to a full journey experience that supports every step of college life. And honestly, we're excited to continue our part in shaping its future. Next slide, please.
Phoenix College strives to grow leaders, build communities, and cultivate responsibilities. As Phoenix College Bears, we are mindful of our commitment to engaging with our peers, creating a welcoming connection at Phoenix College, the flagship of Maricopa County Community College District. We wish you all a safe and happy holidays, and thank you and have a good night.
Our thanks to all of you. I don't know that we've seen this larger group of students, but what a great representation from both Phoenix College and Phoenix College Prep. I need to turn to the board. Are there questions? Any questions? Ms. Sullivan?
Well, I have two things. One, I challenged you to sing the Bear Down song. Now that your mascot is here, is he going to lead you, or is the mascot going to lead you in the song?
We were ready to sing a song, but we do have a little surprise from Santa Bumstead. This is from our PC 3D printing lab created by Associate Vice President Paul Ross and his amazing student staff. Each of you will receive a gift engraved wooden box that contains the logo of each Maricopa College, a golden bear, and a Maricopa wooden plate.
Wow, thank you. And I did have a question.
So we're going to say thank you. I know that Ms. Sullivan has a question. I will share with you, if you've not been in this 3D lab, it is incredible. I had an opportunity to tour, and it's wonderful. So.
But that's not all. We also brought a wooden phoenix bird that is balanced by the wooden staff. It's the name of each Maricopa College and their founding dates. We also added an engraving that Phoenix College is the flagship of Maricopa Community College District. If any of you would like to learn and try your hand in 3D printing and laser engraving, we invite you to our amazing 3D printing lab at Phoenix College. Thank you.
Don't go away.
Thank you very much. Okay, and Ms. Sullivan, I know you still have a question.
All right, I really do have a question. So being very impressed with the presentation from the Academy and delighted by your presentation this evening. Do you work together, or is there any opportunity for integration? And are you, the Senate and leadership of the college, mentoring and guiding the high school students?
Yes, President Bittersmith, board member Mary Sullivan, thank you for your question. Yes, we do work together. We did have them in our last meeting on Monday, and we went a little bit over this presentation. And hopefully for next semester, we hope to bring them in to see what our student life government is about. And I'm hoping that I can find out what they do in their campus as well.
Thank you. Great.
Any more questions?
We're boring compared
Any
to
other
yours,
questions? We may all be distracted by the birds, but
Thank you.
It's pretty amazing.
if not,
Yeah, really.
well, again, many thanks to the team and the students. Dr. Britt, an exceptional presentation, as we've had from other of our campuses, but thank you for being here. Now I know finals are coming, so if you don't want to stay through the rest of this meeting and want to go study, you are certainly excused, but oh, hang on.
Can you guys come up front more?
And their advisors.
There they go.
Yes.
Advisors. There you go.
Congratulations. Thank you so much. We're going to move on to the next reports. And Stacy, I apologize, you're next, because it's a tough act to follow. But on behalf of the Faculty Executive Council, Stacy Smith.
Well, it's almost impossible to follow that, but we must. All right, President Bittersmith, members of the board, Dr. Gonzalez, members of the Shared Governance Executive Council and guests. My name is Stacy Smith and I'm residential faculty at Paradise Valley and the Faculty Executive Council President. So December is often referred to as the month of giving, giving to family, friends, and community. Today I've invited Dr. Yvette Espinoza de Escobar and board members to share about the Maricopa College's Faculty Foundation, our giving, and our impact on the lives of students. I will turn it over to our board members.
Good evening. Thank you. President Bittersmith, members of the board, Dr. Gonzalez, members of the Shared Governance Council, and guests. My name is Yvette Espinoza. I'm a biology faculty at South Mountain. And yeah, make sure it's a shameless plug for our STEM programs and our annual STEM conference. But tonight, I'm actually here to talk to you about the Faculty Foundation. I am a representative of the foundation. I'm the foundation board president, and I'm here with Jim Simpson, who is the foundation treasurer, and Sherilyn Salaya, who is a foundation board member. Next slide, please. As you can see, our Faculty Foundation board is made up of a wide variety of faculty and retired faculty members throughout the district's 10 Maricopa community colleges. So we represent a very holistic group of faculty and faculty interests. And more importantly, we provide emergency grants to students throughout the district. Next slide, please. Our mission is pretty simple. We help students in need and students who are in emergency needs. So you can see our foundation there. Our goal, our mission is to enhance student success through charitable giving. And so we rely heavily on donations from anybody, faculty members, employees throughout the district, or even the public in order to sustain us and to allow us to provide emergency grants for students. Next slide, please. So students really are at the heart of what we do, and I won't read these testimonials to you. You all can look at them. But if you'll notice, the highlighted parts have a very consistent theme. So these are students who at some time or another have received an emergency grant through the foundation, and that emergency grant has been critical to our mission, to sustaining our students and making sure that they have the funds that they need in order to successfully complete the semester. And so really that's what we do on a daily basis, is we provide those emergency grants for students in need so that they can continue their studies.
Next slide, please. President Bittersmith, Chancellor Gonzalez, members of the board. My name is Jim Simpson. I'm the treasurer of the foundation. Our foundation, since we've started, we've donated $120,000 to these kids to help keep them in school, emergency grants. We probably give out about $23,000 a year. And usually these are students who are right ready to drop out of school. They've had their books stolen, their car broke down, they can't pay their rent, something like that. This is what we help them do. Next slide, please. We are a qualified charitable organization, an Arizona qualified charitable organization. That qualification allows us to accept donations from folks. They can write it directly off their taxes. This is a credit against their taxes, not a deduction. The difference is it's a dollar reduction of their taxes. It's kind of like telling the legislature where to send your money, right? It's much better. For the 2025 year, you can donate up to $495 for single, as I said, if you're single. Take it directly off your taxes. Married filing jointly, $987. I'd like to address, sometimes I've heard from folks, well, aren't you competing with our foundation? It's not a competition, because to be a qualified charitable organization, we had to demonstrate that 50% of our funds go to folks that are below 150% of the poverty line. That's what qualifies us at. Do you know what that poverty line is for a single person? It's like $20,000. So the foundation could not meet those qualifications. So, and if you donated to our organization, it's not costing you anything. It's the taxes that go to it. So that's not going to compete about somebody who's going to donate to the Maricopa Foundation. So Let me have Sherilyn. We'll close this out here.
you. President Bittersmith, members of the board, Dr. Gonzalez, members of the Shared Governance Council, and guests, my name is Sherilyn Celaya. So some ways that we've changed over the last few semesters is starting to use Venmo more. We found that's been really helpful to our student population. One of the other things that we decided to do is actually change up the way that we award throughout the semester, because we recognize the point of the foundation is, you know, hardships that happen, and that can happen at any point in the semester, right? And so we decided to kind of take a pause on that and do the third week, and that allows everyone to get in school, instructors get to their students to see who's having that hardship, and then also kind of saving some of those monies towards week 9. So recognizing throughout the whole semester. Next slide, please. So a few of the ways that I'll kind of wrap this up that people can donate is if you were to go ahead and scan that QR code, it would be able to pop up the website, and there's a few ways that anyone can donate. One is just, they're pretty self-explanatory, but one is going to be a recurring monthly donation. The next one is just going to be a one-time donation, and that can be for any dollar amount as well. And so going to that website really walks you through that process. Next slide, please. And the last option we have, which is kind of neat, is the Fry's Rewards Program. And so what that does is if you have a digital account, or even if you didn't, you could sign up for one, and pretty much you're going to log in and you're going to link it to the foundation. And so what that does is every time you go to Fry's, then some of those monies will trickle into the foundation, and we can use that to help our students. So that's all we have for you tonight. Thank you. And do you guys have any questions?
Thank you. So, and Stacy, you've anticipated a couple of questions that came up in agenda review, so thank you for that. But are there other questions from board members? Ms. Sullivan?
I just want to thank you for what you're doing for the students. It's so critically important to have that option for them, and your leadership in that arena, coupled with all of your support from other faculty members, staff, and others, is incredibly important, particularly not only for other emergencies, but this time of year. So thank you for what you're doing. We appreciate it.
I would echo our thanks. Just out of curiosity, what percentage of the faculty do you know are regular donators?
I can't give you that answer directly unless I'm sitting at my computer. I can do it, but it's a substantial amount of faculty. But we also get donations from the community. The word spreads from people, so it's very gratifying. And the support we get from the faculty and the students spread that word too around, I would tell you. So yeah.
That's great. Well, again, I would echo Ms. Sullivan's comments. Great work, and thank you for your help. Dr. Marini?
So yeah, I just have one question. So the students that are in need, how do they know to apply or request or seek out these funds?
Great question, Dr. Narini. The faculty members. The faculty are in their class, right? And you know, they see Johnny hasn't shown up the last couple of days. What's wrong? They contact him. He says, I got my book stolen. I can't do my homework, right? They contact us. We, as Sherilyn was saying, we used to get them checks and would do that. That would take a week or so. Some of them don't even have bank accounts, right? You know, but now we're using Venmo. We get them the money within 24 hours usually. So we get them back in the classroom. But it's the faculty members that drive that.
And are adjunct faculty aware and keyed into this too?
Absolutely, yes. So
thank you.
Thank you again. Appreciate the report. Okay. And then let's move on to the adjunct faculty group. Kim?
Good evening, President Bittersmith, governing board members, Chancellor Gonzalez, members of Shared Governance Executive Council, and all the guests we have tonight. As our meeting is quickly following our last meeting, our adjunct faculty group does not meet in December, and I don't have grand updates for us this time. That said, our reps are continuing their work at each campus. They've been sending out emails and newsletters. It's a little bit of a quieter time as we wind down the semester. I would, however, like to welcome our newest adjunct faculty group rep, Jennifer Mom of Estrella Mountain Community College. She was voted in to take the spot of Mary Broding, who's moving on to the role of VP of Elections and Order in our leadership team. And so we were happy that the election happened quickly, simply, and provided us with a new member to start the new year with. And so I'm going to keep it short and sweet tonight, and I'm going to leave you with two gifts. The first one is I wish to all of you that you may find joy this holiday season, whether that be through a smile, through time with family and friends, or through service to others. Second, I will give the gift of time and end my report. I wish you all a happy holidays and enjoy some time off. And I'm looking forward to the new year and all the things we have to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. Any questions for Kim?
Thank you.
Seeing none, thank you very much. Now the staff representation update, Jason and Tony.
President Bittersmith, members of the board, Dr. Gonzalez, members of the SGEC, and honored guests. It is my pleasure to have the last governing board presentation for this year. Next slide, please. We'd like to announce something. There is one small error on this slide. I caught it too late, but she's not a non-exempt. She's an exempt employee. So it's going to be the new co-president, Brenna Stein from Paradise Valley Community College. And officially she starts on July 1st. I'm going to turn it over to.
And so this will be when my term ends and Brenna will be coming in to replace my seat. Next slide, please. And we want to keep it short and sweet as well. We're working on some new things for the new year. At this point, we just want to say happy holidays from staff representation. Looking forward to next year. And next, we're going to move to the next slide and welcome up our staff members from Phoenix College.
Welcome.
Hello, thank you. Good evening to our governing board and Dr. Gonzalez, President Bittner-Smith. My name is Safia Sampson. I am the staff senator and a non-exempt employee representation from Phoenix College. We have a lovely spotlight report for you this evening, and I will be turning it over to Dr. Anika Hutchinson first, and then Kim Duru, and finally Gina Ruiz. Thank you so much.
Actually, I'm going to cut in front of Anika. Next slide, please, Elsa. So I'm Kim Duru, and want to talk to you a little bit about staff involvement in our Achieving the Dream work. So we became a member of the Achieving the Dream Network in 2024. And our staff has been intricately involved in developing our action plan, which was submitted in June of 2025, June of this year. We have two main priorities with that. One, to improve Gateway Math and English success through embedded student success support specialists, increased faculty professional development and cohort models. And then our second goal is to increase fall-to-fall retention from 55 to 60% via redesigned onboarding, proactive advising, and embedded career exploration. So to support those goals, next slide, please. We also implemented the institutional capacity assessment tool in September and October, which was a survey that we had all of our faculty and staff complete. I'm proud to say staff had over 40% of the completion rate for that. And we had over 200 participants across the college that provided feedback related to how they understand our success on these 7 main capacities with Achieving the Dream. The strengths that emerged that our staff and faculty identified were our educational excellence, our ability for digital transformation, and our community connectedness. And we were able to identify opportunities related to communication and awareness, which really interweaves with the discussion from our students earlier this evening about their work on the redesign for Bear Tracks. That was a very intentional element that we worked on, and our design, next slide please, that they already showed you in our new t-shirts come along with that, and continued intentional partnership between faculty, staff, and students is on the forefront with that work. So now I will turn it over to Anika.
Good evening. I'm Anika Hutchinson, and I'm currently serving as the Interim Dean of Student Affairs at Phoenix College. Phoenix College is proud to be named one of the 2025 most promising places to work in community colleges by Diverse Magazine and the National Institute for Staff and Organizational Development, also known as NISOD. This national recognition earned through a rigorous evaluation of workplace inclusion, staffing practices, and campus climate. As one of only 16 colleges across the country selected for this honor, Phoenix College stands along institutions demonstrating excellence in family-friendly policies, competitive benefits, and robust professional development opportunities. This award affirms the daily work of our faculty, staff, and administrators whose dedication creates a community where employees feel valued and empowered to support student success. We are grateful for the recognition, but most importantly, we celebrate the people of Phoenix College whose commitment continues to make our campus a truly promising place to work and learn. Next slide.
So President Bitter-Smith, members of the board, Chancellor Gonzalez, and members of the SGEC, this is how we conclude our presentation. So if you guys have any questions for us, please let us know. So we're giving back the gift of time as well.
Which I know we are all grateful for, but I want to see if there are questions from the board.
And also we do have a gift from our students for Dr. Narini.
If it were for not for these gifts, Dr. Narini would have nothing to wear. But yes. Questions? If not, thank you very much. Great report. We appreciate it. All right, now we're moving on to the Chancellor's report. And Dr. Gonzalez, I know you have some presentations, but also your own report. I will let you figure out which order you'd like to do that.
I think we'll start with the marketing update first, and then we'll go into my report. So President Bitter-Smith, members of the board, and members of SGEC and guests with us here tonight. And we're going to invite Lindsay Wilson to come up and provide an update of some of the truly amazing things that have been going on in the marketing and communications office through a variety of ways to communicate all that we do. I want to personally thank Lindsay and her team for the tremendous amount of help that they provide my office. A lot of pretty much any communication that comes out of my office is done with their assistance. I think the first podcast has probably reached 1 to 2 million views already at this point, likely to be award winning. We recorded another one today, and you got to watch that one. All right. So that's coming out soon. There will also be a holiday video that's coming out that we had some fun with it. So that's all I'll say. All right. But I want to thank the team here. You guys, you're doing some amazing work. So thank you so much. Lindsay?
Thank you, Dr. Gonzalez. Good evening, President Bitter-Smith, members of the governing board, Chancellor, members of SGC, and what I assume must be millions of marketing enthusiasts tuning in around the world. My name is Lindsay Wilson, and I have the privilege of leading the marketing and communications efforts on behalf of Maricopa Community Colleges. I'm excited tonight to share how our work is strengthening brand awareness, generating student interest, and advancing the visibility of our colleges across the state. Next slide. Our team is responsible for the full marketing and communications ecosystem of Maricopa Community Colleges, from the technology and tools that power our outreach to the creative strategies that shape how our community sees us. We also provide individualized support to each college. Next slide. Before I show you some of our work, I would be remiss if I did not thank the exceptional marketing and communications professionals who make this possible. I'd like to ask those who are in attendance to stand so that they could be recognized. And since I'm in just such a holiday spirit, I didn't make them speak. I just asked them to come stand. For the past 2.5 years, we've been on a mission to build a modern, unified, strategic marketing and communications operation worthy of a system that serves more Arizona residents than any other college or university. When I joined the district office, my first meeting began with one simple question: who are we? It sounds basic, and some probably thought I was having an existential crisis, but as we dug deeper, it became clear we knew what we did, but we were not consistently telling our community who we were as a system in a way that was concise, compelling, or aligned with brand values. That is what we set out to change. Next slide, maybe, but don't roll the video yet. I'm not sure. I think we got off one slide, but that's okay. We partnered
Could you go back to the hybrid House of Brands slide? It's back a couple. There it is. We partnered with our college marketing teams to reposition the system brand under a new hybrid House of Brands model. The Maricopa brand became the 10 colleges, and the 10 colleges became Maricopa. That foundation allowed us to launch our primary brand campaign, 10 Colleges, Unlimited Opportunities. Next slide. There it is. The Opportunity campaign unified our voice across every major media platform, connecting our brand promise to real opportunities to real students. Leading the charge of this effort is the crown jewel every marketer dreams of creating, a 30-second commercial. Over the past 18 months, we've had multiple spots airing on channels such as ESPN, ABC 15, Univision, streaming platforms, and many others. I'm excited to show a few of them, and I'm going to play several in a row like a good teacher before holiday break. But to keep things moving, I'll answer questions at the very end of the presentation. As we wrote, produced, and edited each spot entirely in-house, we established 3 simple rules. First, every commercial had to feature real student stories, authentic narratives that reflect the lived experiences of the people we serve. Second, every shot had to be shot by us. No stock footage, no generative AI, only real, beautiful visuals that are captured on our campuses, our classrooms, and throughout our communities. And finally, the message has to be simple, memorable, and rooted in our brand pillars. No heavy voiceovers, no over-explaining. Each ad needs to stand confidently on its own, sometimes without even saying a word. Roll tape. For us, sometimes it can be highlighting the moment when everything clicks for our students, when the hidden talents of their everyday lives suddenly connect to a real path forward, when they realize that the answers can sometimes be right in front of them. Did we lose our video? Just let it roll. Let it roll. That's the one.
Sometimes it can be hard to see the whole picture. How one thing can lead to another. But every once in a while, you get a glimpse.
While those ads showcase the idea of explorability, finding yourself on our campuses, other ads focus on how opportunity can transform a student's future and the community around us, like the story of a young aspiring entrepreneur who dreams of opening her own small business.
Every selfie tells your story, your individuality, your dreams. Whether you want to build a brighter future, change the world, or create something extraordinary, your goals are as unique as you are. And your journey, one of a kind.
And while we always have a target demo in mind when we develop ads or campaigns, some speak directly to a specific audience, such as first-generation college students who suddenly feel the weight and the power of their decisions impact on future generations.
Going to college for the first time doesn't just change your life. It changes theirs, too. Discover how we're changing college for the better.
And other ads might be meant for the Gen Z high school student who has grown skeptical of college but still wants something real, an authentic community, a sense of independence and purpose in a world that feels increasingly uncertain, and a career that they can truly build for themselves.
Who do you want to be? Be a boundary breaker, risk taker, game changer. Be a self-creator. Forget the naysayers, the haters, the fakers. This is your game. You're the main player. Time to be your own lifesaver. And keep being me.
We can return to the slide deck. I could play more, but you get the idea. And that one right there, that's perfect. And as proud as I am of those commercials and the national awards that they've won, our work does not stop there. At any given moment, we're running over 150 marketing campaigns on behalf of our system and our colleges. That includes the national award-winning Opportunity campaign, which features not just the commercials you saw, but coordinated digital ads, homepage takeovers, billboards, and more. Next slide. We also developed our national award-winning bachelor's degree campaign, which helped the system launch and scale our bachelor's degrees with a unified message and strong public awareness. Next slide. And then there's our national award-winning Stop Out campaign, which uses student-level data to reach former students based on their proximity to graduation. It's a way of saying, we see you, we're here for you, and we want you to come back. And it's helped tens of thousands of students return and move closer to their goals. Next slide. We also build campaigns centered around community. A recent example is our efforts to fully remodel the booth at JA BizTown, where thousands of students each month learn about careers, opportunities, and the role Maricopa can play in their future. Next slide. We also focus on strengthening relationships with the people who influence students the most: high school counselors, advisors, and our own recruitment teams. It's not in front of you, it's actually underneath your chair to the right of your feet. You will see one of our newest tools, which we call the Opportunity Box. It is mailed to every high school in Maricopa County and helps our career and college advisors share everything that our colleges have to offer, including scholarships, early college options like dual enrollment, and our bachelor's degrees. Each college is represented, providing a unified view of the system while still highlighting the strengths of each campus. The boxes are yours to keep or to give away to somebody who works directly with students. These efforts and many others have elevated our brand presence and thought leadership across the state, from award-winning workforce reports to advertorials and op-eds. Our goal is for the community not to just see us as 10 colleges, but as a unified system that shapes Arizona's talent pipeline and economic future. Next slide. But we know results matter, so in front of you, I've also included two reports: a recent competitive analysis and our 24-25 media strategy and results report. Despite operating with a fraction of the budget of our higher ed counterparts, our team consistently delivers outsized results. For example, last year's $5 million investment generated a $62 million return, including $52 million from digital marketing alone. And this year, with the same budget, our refined strategy is modeling a $70.7 million return. The data is clear. Our marketing is working and is working exceptionally well for the people of Arizona. Next slide. And as for the question I asked on my very first day, who are we? Tonight, I hope the answer feels more clear than ever before. We believe that there is a better way to do college, one grounded in opportunity, community, and meaningful outcomes for every learner. We are Arizona's largest higher education provider and one of the state's most powerful economic engines. And across our 10 colleges, we are proving that college can look different, feel different, and work better for everyone. So while commercials are fun and the awards are meaningful, the real achievement is this. Whenever a student chooses us, the answer to who are we gets stronger. And I could not be more proud to tell that story on behalf of our colleges and every student whose life is changed because of them. Thank you for your support, trust, and commitment to ensuring Maricopa Community Colleges remains the place where opportunity is open for every Arizona.
So Lindsay, I suspect there are questions. I just want to thank you for doing the presentation. She and I had a conversation last board meeting or the meeting before, because I kept hearing about these boxes from people I was running into who were active, obviously, in the high school space. And I was actually at a meeting at Xavier. Somebody showed me the box. So that alone was enticing to figure out the rest of what was happening in the campaign. So congratulations to the team. I think it is making a difference. I suspect Dr. Narini will have comments about at least the high school counselor part of it. But let me see what questions the board might have. Questions?
President Bittersmith, I know places to put these boxes. So I'll take any extra boxes.
There you go. Questions? Oh, Ms. Smith. Sorry.
Thank you. I thought this was really excellent. I thought the videos were really inspiring. I'm so glad the team is here. I feel really jazzed and just tremendously proud of this whole presentation and the work that you've all done. I loved it. Maybe stealing Dr. Nerney's thunder, I'm not sure. How do you assess penetration in the high school counselor market in particular? How can we assess over time whether the messages are making a difference and whether they're buying what we're promoting?
It's a great question. President Bittersmith, Board Member Smith, it's a newer space for us to be in. We've recently partnered with our student affairs teams around the district, and we've started doing what I refer to as sort of yield marketing efforts. So early college enrollees, we have a lot of them, 27, 28,000 a year. We've started sending them more information more often sooner about continuing with Maricopa Community Colleges, and also to inform them about scholarship opportunities and those kinds of things. We always track everything that happens across any owned digital asset that we have. So there's some ways that we're tracking behavioral analytics and those types of conversions from that. We know that last year, our early college program enrollees, that an increase of 8.3% of them continued year over year when we made that comparison. So some of those efforts we think had an influence on that. Specifically with the boxes, they're brand new. One of the things you'll see is if you open it up, there's actually a QR code at the very bottom. So if a college and career advisor or counseling office needs more resources, they can go right on that QR code and ask for more. What it's also doing is it's like showing us the people who are using the resources, and hopefully we can also share that information with our college teams that may even be in those high schools to begin with. So we're hoping we'll get even more data to understand if is it working, is it resonating. But some of the things we track just as just a baseline, we always are tracking our leads, our conversions of enrollment. We're also tracking what we refer to as brand lift. So people who are searching for the term Maricopa Community Colleges, Maricopa Colleges, if we're running a large campaign and we see those numbers have a significant uptick, and we're running tons of billboards, we're assuming that that was contributing to those types of increases.
I just have one other question. Can you please refresh my memory? I'm going to use the word central. So this is the central team, and then the respective colleges have their own staff. Can you comment roughly how many marketing staff are at each college and how they engage with you to add the local touch to the marketing that they want to do?
Absolutely. Yeah. So we coordinate with every single college team and actually help spearhead campaigns on behalf of their college. So those are things that aren't system branded, that would be branded to the individual college, digital ads, their local billboards. most of the billboards that you see in Arizona that are the college billboards were actually purchased and coordinated by our team. So we're leveraging our buying power. We're working with those teams. We're trying to figure out what local message is resonating with them. I like to tell them, own your backyard. Like in that radius, we want them to be highly prominent and present in those markets. As far as how we work individually, we have standing monthly meetings with every single college team, and sometimes even sub meetings that are focused on things like digital ad coordination or things like that. The team structure varies across the system. Some college teams are as few as 2. Some college teams are as large as 6, 7. Sorry, didn't mean to make my kids say 6, 7 all the time, and I just did it in the morning. Good. They won't believe that I did that. So 6 to 7 people that are on that team, and their budgets vary, and that's just, you know, I think makeup over time. And so what we try to do is ensure that out of our budget, a significant portion of that is spent on college specific campaigns to drive, you know, performance marketing and lead generation efforts for those colleges. So we have a coordinating council. So if there's big things we're going to do, like the hybrid house of brands model, that was something we talked about collectively as marketing teams before we went this direction.
Just a quick follow-up. I think this budget report and the competition analysis is very compelling. So just to make sure I understand. So the 22 is Central plus colleges?
It is, yeah. And one thing just to note about that competitive analysis is lots of the colleges that we were trying to evaluate, we could find numbers a lot of times around their central operations. Sometimes we know like individual college schools at those university counterparts have also marketing communications professionals. There wasn't a clear way to glean those numbers. So we compared our system to what we believed was their systemized number.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Those are my questions.
You're very welcome.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. Other questions? Comments? Oh, Ms. Davis.
This question actually is for the chancellor. When we went to that student success conference, they showed an ad that was so powerful that our keynote speaker was all about that ad. So can you comment on that?
Absolutely. It's referred to as the Boom 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 video by the chancellor of the Cuyahoga Community College District, who did play that at the Student Success Conference. In fact, I spoke to the Executive Leadership Institute participants this morning that it's ELI, League for Innovation, and I showed them that video. I was hoping that video would be played tonight. It's about a minute and a half, and there are no words, but it clearly says who we are as Maricopa and what we do. And so the quick story behind it is that after that presentation was done by the Chancellor Cuyahoga, he shared with me that he met with his team and he said, I'm going to be meeting with some friends out in Maricopa, and I want to show you something. And he showed them the video. And then he says, in addition to showing you this video, I'm laying down a challenge to you all. You need to come up with a video like this, and it better have that boom, boom, boom in it. So I wish we could show that tonight, Lindsay, maybe some other time, but
yeah,
I encourage you
we'll
all.
make sure you all have the link, but that is a who we are video, and it gives a nice overview of who we are as a system. But yeah, our team was happy to see that presented at the Student Success Conference. It was a nice surprise that it got noticed.
One of the ELI participants was a Maricopa employee, and she came up afterwards and said, you know, is that a new video? I said, yes, it just came out. And she goes, it made me really proud to work for Maricopa. It gave me goosebumps. And I said, I've seen it 3 or 4 times, and every time I watch it, I feel the same way. Good job.
Other comments or compliments for the marketing team?
Good job.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
for the
Lindsay.
full team.
So President Bittersmith and members of the board, I'll mention some of the additional facts about Phoenix College, since they were the group that was presenting tonight. Some of the things that I was going to mention were already mentioned by the students and their employees, but I do want to talk about their enrollment. Their fall 2025 enrollment is at 11,100 students, which matches the fall 2019 enrollment. So that's actually a good thing, because they can say that they are back to pre-pandemic numbers. And in fact, I think they're going to surpass that, because spring 2026 enrollment is already up 16%. And that would take them back to 2018 enrollment figures. The fall retention rate continues to rise. The students have reached 66.5%, which is a 4% increase over the past 4 years. Their graduation rate has increased by 20.7% over the past 4 years, while the average time to completion has decreased from 5.3 to 4.3 years. These gains indicate that PC's reform efforts are helping more students complete their programs and do so more quickly. And I think with their continued involvement, as you heard tonight, in the Achieving the Dream initiative and project that they're involved in, I think we're going to see these numbers continue to increase. So I congratulate Dr. Britt and her team over at Phoenix College for the good work that they're doing. And as was mentioned, their men's soccer team are now national champions. They continue to implement the Achieving the Dream and working really closely with the leadership across the country to do that. In May, Phoenix College was named the most promising place to work in community colleges. So congratulations again there to the leadership and faculty and staff. And as far as the Phoenix College Preparatory Academy is concerned, last academic year, PCPA boasted a 100% graduation rate with 26 students earning either an AA or an AS degree before they graduated from high school. Students earned a total of $4.6 million in scholarships on top of this extraordinary success. This academic year, PCPA has 22 students on track to complete their AA or associate's degree, and 5 will earn dual degrees with 116 students who are enrolled in college courses. For our system, spring enrollment right now is up 10.8% when compared to this time for the spring 2025 semester. Total attempted hours is up 10.3% from the spring. So the upward trend in enrollment continues. I think you heard a lot of the reasons as to why that continues through our marketing campaigns that are wildly successful. And of course, the work done by our recruiters and our faculty and staff to retain those that we do bring into the Maricopa system. And I want to share that for me personally, what drew me to Maricopa. Maricopa has always had an amazing reputation across the country. And I grew up working at Central Arizona College. And when the job for Gateway posted, there were 2 things that really solidified for me. It was the place where I wanted to be. 1, they had an early college high school on its campus. And 2, they said that they wanted a candidate to have a sense of humor. They actually put that in there. I said, I think I'm a funny guy. I think I can do this. So with that, President Bittersmith, members of the board, I conclude my update, and I want to wish everyone a happy holiday season, a restful winter break. 2026 is going to be on fire.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Gonzalez. Any questions for the Chancellor and the board? Seeing none, I have no cards for public comments. So we'll go right into the consent agenda. Do any board members or the Chancellor wish to remove any items from the consent agenda? None? Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Ms. Sullivan, is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Dr. Thor. All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes unanimously, including the student advisory vote, and the consent agenda is approved. Let's now move on to the first read and information items, starting with the schedule of proposed 2026 governing board meetings. You'll notice that's been a little bit of a moving target. There is a final agenda with a couple changes. One with the understanding, and I might make sure you've seen this, that our agenda review session for next month will be virtual, and then we're going to do the election of officers, of new officers, beginning as a meeting prior to the regular board meeting. So please note that change. Also, we are not showing a December meeting. That doesn't mean if there were a reason to have a December meeting, we wouldn't, but that's part of the calendar agenda. So I just want to make sure there are any questions about that proposal. Dr. Thor.
As the chair of the Chancellor's evaluation process, I would like to request that the June 9th meeting be in person rather than virtual, as that is the meeting that the governing board has a discussion on the various document surveys and so on.
we will make that addition and change. Other questions or suggestions?
Just one question. Seeing that each month we have one of the different colleges present, and generally in December we have Phoenix College, where will they be moved to if we don't have the December meeting?
Great question, because we want them back. So I think we can work, and again, there could be the suggestion is that typically the December meeting is relatively light and there's no reason to do that. But if there's a need to do the meeting, we would. So let me turn back to Dr. Gonzalez, wanting to make sure that we include all of our colleges and reports.
Yes, President Bittersmith, Dr. Narini, I think we're going to be okay with that. I believe the June meeting is one where we haven't had one in the past, where there's, because we've gone through all 10 colleges at that point. We'll map it out and make sure. And if not, then we'll work very
Good
closely
catch,
with the
thank you.
chair.
Other questions or comments, Ms. Sullivan?
Two things. One, on the justification on the cover sheet for the first read, it might be clear to the point of evaluations and others for the sentence to read, in addition to the meeting listed below, it is possible that additional special sessions, work sessions, or board retreats may be held. I would put a period there as opposed to saying as needed, because sometimes the term of necessity can be varied by different interpretations. So I would suggest that. Secondly, normally in early or mid-year, we do, this is addressed to you, Dr. Thor, we do a mid-year evaluation of the chancellor as well. And I noticed that's not listed on here. So I'm wondering how that will be integrated.
Yes, we should add that.
Okay.
Capture that on the calendar. That's been a moving target a little bit too in that mid-year. What's defined as mid-year, but we don't want to
Right,
miss that.
and I understand that, but I think if we're working to be as specific as is noted here, it would be important also to put that in.
Okay.
I was going to say in stone, but that's pretty old. Think about something in stone. Anyway,
Other comments or questions or suggestions? If not, let's move on to item number 2. And I think in preparation for the policy framework, we have a presentation, which is not called out on the agenda specifically, but I want to call on our general counsel.
Good evening, President Bittersmith, members of the Governing Board, Chancellor Gonzalez, members of Shared Governance Council, colleagues and guests. I'm Janice Falkenberg, General Counsel, and I'm here to introduce the new Governing Board Policy Framework and new Policy 4.1 on the Governing Board Policy Adoption, Revision, and Maintenance, which incorporates this new framework. With me this evening are Shannon Chavez, our Chief Compliance Officer, and Lauren Guthrie, our Director of Policy and Records, who are heavily involved in managing this project. This project was launched in the spring of 2024, so it's been an ongoing project upon the request of Dr. Thor, that and the board, that the Chancellor engage a team to review our existing policy structure and develop a new framework that is aligned to create enhanced transparency and alignment with our opportunities. So we've spent a lot of time looking at comparators and best practices across the country, and really trying to realign and draft for clarity our board policies and align them with our subsequent administrative regulations. So the team has worked over the last several months to do so, and we are very pleased tonight to come forward with this policy 4.1, which really sets the foundation to build out this new framework through the formal adoption of this policy, which is on the agenda this evening for first read and will be subject to board approval in January. The board has had an opportunity to review the new framework and provide feedback at its board retreat this last summer. And I'm going to turn it over now to Shannon and Lauren, and we will be here to answer any questions after we get through the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Janice. Good evening, President Bittersmith, members of the board, Chancellor Gonzalez, members of the Shared Governance Executive Council, and all the guests here this evening, and anyone listening at home. We're very excited to be here. I'm honored to be here. I've been at the district for just under a year now. This project was one of the first conversations Janice and I had when I assumed this role, and it's very exciting to be coming to you now with something to present in turn, creating and hopefully implementing this project that you all, and in particular Dr. Thor, requested of the chancellor and of the district staff. So very excited to be here. I do feel we are a little remiss in not knowing that we should have brought gifts to the December meeting for you. We will make sure to know that next December. But we want to go ahead and just give you a little overview of what this is about. As Janice said, this policy 4.1 really helps establish the framework overall. I feel like this does fit in with a lot of what you've seen tonight as well. Lindsay's theme talking about, who we are. That's what policies are about as well. It is constitutional. It is integral to who we are. And we want to help establish the framework that you all envision to make sure to take us into that space where for anyone transparently across the district in the public can understand what we stand for, what our expectations are. Elsa, next slide, please. So what you see here is just an easy visual representation of how the overall framework for policy and subordinate processes and guidelines would work. This is a typical look at how this would be out in any kind of public sphere and sort of stylized for the higher ed and in particular the Maricopa Community College's environment. So starting with board policy, as it says, a robust board policy, governance and policy framework promotes things like transparency, very important. Bringing things before the board in an open meeting allows the public, which includes people who are both staff and students and faculty of Maricopa Community Colleges, to have an opportunity to see what those things are, to make comments on it, and for you all to hear from the public on that. These would be, board policies would be those things that are actually adopted by yourselves through this process. Next, under that would be board resolutions. Again, things that you all are capable of resolving to do. And then from there, you see those things that would be more operational in nature, things that are happening at the district staff, at the chancellor and his staff and divisions and colleges levels, things like administrative regulations, employee handbooks, standard operating procedures, and college and division processes. Next slide, please. So what you have here is a definition of governing board policy. This is the same definition that you will see in the policy that Lauren is going to explain to you in just a couple moments here. But it really talks about some important things. Obviously, policies are those things we would consider they're written documents rather than ephemeral ideas, but they are establishing an actual standard, something that demonstrates what we have an expectation to see, both what you all want for the district to do and how it manages its affairs, and how we're able to understand that so that we can go forward and implement that. It should be something that is both capable of meeting compliance requirements for any sort of statutory or regulatory compliance requirements that are out there, but it really is able to uphold the mission of the institution, of what you all envision as what we want to be in the face we want to show to the public. It's going to be something that is going to create operational efficiency because everyone has a set of standards that they know how to operate by. And it's going to, by doing all those things, help reduce risk across the district. Next slide, please. These are some definitions of these other subordinate processes that we had just discussed. I'm not going to go into them. You all can read, but just to give you an idea that these are the varying other things that will exist in support of policies. So from the policies, all of these should flow. We should have a set of policies that are clear, that demonstrate, again, constitutionally what we would expect to have implemented in reality and in practice. And from those, we will have a set of administrative regulations that support policy implementation. There'd be an employee handbook some of which would be standard, right? There are some things that are true of all employees, and there are some things that would be separate based on employee group types that can be defined there. Standard operating procedures, again, those things that whether it's a member of staff, faculty, students, public, anyone could be able to understand, here are the standard operating procedures. These are the procedures with which we expect to see the necessary steps that are done to carry out the day-to-day business of the district. And then again, subordinate to that would be those college and division processes, those things that can be developed by individual divisions within the district office, within colleges, to help figure out how do we take all of this body of requirements and actually put it into process every day and make sure that we're able to carry these jobs out. Next slide, please. This is just a nice rainbow colored representation of the major categorical areas or subjects that you'll find in the policy framework. With the board agenda item for policy 4.1 that Lauren's going to speak to you about in a moment, there is an appendix to that, which is the entire framework structure, which you all have seen before. These are the categories that sort of highlight the different areas of policy that we will expect to be over the course of the next year and plus coming to you to bring policies forward for you all to be able to review, and for, again, the public and everyone to have an opportunity to understand what we're doing there. With that, I'm going to ask Lauren to talk to you briefly about the actual policy that you are doing the first read on tonight, which is policy 4.1. Lauren?
Good evening, President Bitter-Smith, members of the board, Dr. Gonzalez, members of the Shared Governance Executive Council, and guests. My name is Lauren Guthrie. I'm the Director of Policy Governance at the district, and I'll do a walkthrough of policy 4.1 for you. The purpose of this policy really is to delineate the process, roles, and responsibilities for adoption, revision, and maintenance of governing board policies. We also call it the policy of policies. This policy applies to all policies approved and adopted by the governing board and any proposed policies seeking governing board approval. We've laid out the process here for how this would flow, starting with a policy need identified by a responsible agent who will then lead the development of that policy. From there, the policy is reviewed and certified by our Office of General Counsel. And from there, we have a categorically aligned Shared Governance Council who would review and approve that policy. From there, the Shared Governance Executive Council also reviews and approves the policy. And after those steps are completed, we'll bring it to you for the first read at the governing board. And then the following month, agendize the proposed policy for a second read and hopefully adoption by the governing board. So that lays out the process. So we know how this will work, both for adopting a new policy and when we see there's a need for a policy revision. Next slide, please. We think it's important that we don't just make policies and put them on the shelf and forget about them. So to ensure policies remain relevant and up to date, we'll review them every 3 years or when it's required more frequently, situations such as statutory or regulatory authority changes. If we identify a deficiency, whether it's the Shared Governance Counselor or the executive sponsor, when we see that a change is needed, and then certainly at the direction of the governing board. We have specified that if there are technical changes that don't substantively change the policy itself, those can be made through an administrative process. So we don't need to clog up the agenda with minor wording changes, for example. So that's the review of 4.1. I'll just touch on something else, and then Janice and Shannon and I can answer any questions you have. Next slide, please. In addition to developing these first few policies and presenting them to you, we're also developing a 12-month policy priority review matrix. We want to show you kind of what you can expect to see in the next year, some ways that we're prioritizing what we'll bring in front of you, policies that contribute to the health of the system. We're going to look at time since the last review of the policy, policies that are used frequently. Again, when we're seeing substantial regulatory changes, we're also going to group and develop related policies so that they're, all cohesive and written together for consistency and complementary policies. And then we're going to seek feedback, from our shared governance councils on their policy priorities. In addition, we're currently reviewing potential software solutions. We understand as we're embarking on lots of policy writing, we want to make sure we stay organized, manage the workflow and the storage as we're writing and approving new policies. With that, I'll pause and see what questions you all have for us.
Questions with the team, Dr. Thor?
Thank you very much for the presentation. When we reviewed this new framework at our retreat, we were told that it'll probably take up to 2 years to develop or revise, develop new policies or revise existing policies. So during that transition period, how are we maintaining 2 sets of policies?
That's an excellent question. So within the policy that you have before you tonight for first read, one aspect of that is that if there are existing administrative regulations, which is the first set of policies we would be bringing to you throughout the course of the next year, that need to be, elevated up to the policy level, it would have the opportunity for sort of through the process of your adoption of the new policy to either eliminate or change that AR in such a way that it doesn't have to go through a separate process. So in other words, if we brought to you a policy on something fiscal, for example, and that had already something at an administrative regulation level, then through the work of what we would do with the responsible agent through the shared governance councils would be to also prepare whether or not there are changes needed to that AR to make sure it can properly implement the policy itself. That's going to be before you all, and then also ultimately eliminate any contradictions or anything that is obsolete based on the policy that you created, so that it can do the job of, as it shows in the pyramid, making sure that administrative regulation is aligned with the board policy. So in some regards, the answer to your question is yes, there will be a simultaneous system because we're not going to just erase everything. We have to be able to operate still on a daily basis, but we're trying to, sort of, I'm dating myself because I learned how to drive on a stick shift, right? Like be able to push the gas down and pull up a little bit on the clutch at the same time to balance that out.
I think we will have for a period of time keeping 2 separate stations for policy, and we'll be cross-referencing an old policy perhaps to go to the new policy framework and cross-reference the appropriate policy. So we will build that out so it's clear to people if something is sunsetted or no longer in place, to cross-reference where the new policy or administrative regulation is placed.
Okay. And my other question is on slide 7 on policy adoption and revision. The first bullet is identify a policy need or policy revision need by a responsible agent. Do I correctly assume that the board can be a responsible agent?
Yeah, so we have identified for each of the sections of policy who the responsible agent would be. And obviously the board, you, Dr. Thor, as the policy person of the board, would be involved in all of that, or your successor that would be taking that role would be working with staff. But each district executive will be given responsibility for their requisite section. So obviously, human resources would be Leanne and the CHRO, finance would be her as well. So there will be people assigned to each section that would then launch a policy review or policy, new policy.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Sullivan.
Build. Thank you. That was going to be one of my questions as well. Thank you, Dr. Thor. But building on that, if the board has a perception that there's a challenge in a sector, such as, let's throw out human resources, a board member could still function as a responsible party within that to create that interest to have that reviewed. Would that be a fair comment? It wouldn't be isolated to only the representative agent of that sector.
Right. So I could see being a partner and sponsor of a particular item if there was something that was of interest, and working through the chancellor's office as well to help us understand how we can meet the interests of the board members in a particular area. So it's always in collaboration with the board members. I don't think we're trying to create a space where the board members have no input, or and obviously they'll always come to you for approval. So that's your space as well to add your input or your interests. But we can also, as we get the prioritization model built out, then perhaps you can see where you would like to weigh in on particular items that might be on that prioritization.
Thinking historically to one of my first board meetings, the board was the one who presented the interest to create a different way of looking at a faculty handbook, for example, and the policies there. We were not subordinate to that interest. We led that interest. So that would be an example of being a responsible agent in an otherwise different category. So I just wanted to ask that question out loud. I do have another question, and that is, you made a reference review of best practices and policies. Can you tell me where you looked at for best practices and policies?
Yeah,
and
so
how you evaluated them as best practices and policies?
Yeah, so we looked across other large community college systems. The De Anza College, where Dr. Thor came from. We looked at Pima, who recently did a full rewrite of all of its board policies. I know they're not a system, but they do have a pretty well built out system. We looked at the LA system. I think we looked at some in Santa Monica, some on the East Coast as well. So we really looked at various different models to really come up with one. My old college where I came from had a pretty well built out board policy system. So really looking at those that kind of aligned with our operational interests and where we see the main categories building. Now, obviously, the policies that live below each of those main categories may differ based on our operations.
And with no pejorative comment to De Anza, how would one presume that De Anza's were a best practice?
I think it
No
had a
offense.
structure. And maybe Dr. Thor can speak to
Well,
that, but it did
I'm
have
using that as an example, not as a specific. But in terms of the places that you looked for guidance, I'm just curious how the evaluation of those as best practice and policies surfaces in that context, not what are they doing, how are they doing it, is it working at De Anza or LA or any of the others? That would be my one question. My second one, university systems also have really good practices or could be perceived as having best practices. Did you look at any university systems?
I think we took a look at ASU and other, and yeah, and the U of A. I believe we looked at some larger too. But again, they have differing operations on research and other
I
things that we
understand.
really don't have here. I would also say that, interestingly enough, going back to the 1990s, I found an old policy book of Maricopa County Community Colleges, and it had a very similar framework to what we're proposing. So you did, at the district level, we did have a much more robust policy framework
Mhm.
that wasn't a policy governance framework, which is what we have today with very few board policies and many more administrative regulations, which leaves question about who controls and how do we change things and how do we manage things. So it was really interesting for me to go back to that printed policy book that's in my office and see what we had going back to the 90s. And it's not this slide, but the rainbow slide, very similar to this.
And I'm not commenting again on that. I'm just again remain curious about the definition of best.
Yeah, well, maybe that's not a very good word to use, but I think there are standard practices that are used in policy development. It's policy structures, and you'll see as you look and compare ones to others, they have a lot of similarities, which I think ours reflects the main categorical similarities that other organizations have.
Thank you. So this is only first read though, right?
Yes, this
Correct.
is first read.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Other questions?
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And we have another presentation under the acceptable use governing board policy. Welcome. This is obviously item number 3.
Good evening, President Bittersmith, members of the board, Dr. Gonzalez, members of Shared Governance Executive Council, and guests. My name is Jamie Spradlin, and I'm the Chief Information Security Officer here at the district office. And tonight I get to present the acceptable use policy. I know, really exhilarating and exciting at the end of the night.
We are waiting with bated
Put a
breath,
bow
not
on
to
this
worry.
evening. So this policy is foundational to the security, reliability, and integrity of Maricopa's technology environment, and it directly supports our mission to provide high-quality education and services to our students and communities. Next slide, please, Elza. The acceptable use policy exists to ensure that everyone who interacts with Maricopa's technology environment does so responsibly and ethically. This policy applies to all users of our IT resources, students, faculty, staff, contractors, vendors, consultants, volunteers, and guests. Whether individuals are on campus or accessing systems remotely, they are expected to follow the same standards of behaviors. By establishing a clear and uniform standard, the AUP helps us maintain a secure and operational digital infrastructure that supports teaching, learning, and administrative functions across the entire district. Next slide, please, Elza. To put it simply, the policy defines who, what, and why. Who? Anyone who uses Maricopa technology resources. This includes every individual who logs in, accesses information, or interacts with our systems. The what? The AUP outlines the responsible, lawful, and ethical expectations for all technology use, covering how data is accessed, how systems are used, and how digital tools are handled. And the why? The policy protects the district by ensuring technology is used in ways that safely enable innovation, support teaching and learning, foster collaboration, and protect the integrity of our educational and administrative systems. The framework allows Maricopa to advance technologically while maintaining strong safeguards around security, privacy, and compliance obligations. Next slide, please. Nope, that's it. Policy maintenance. So one thing I want to point out on this, I know that Shannon and Janice briefed on a 3-year cycle of review. We're going to review this on a yearly basis. Technology changes so rapidly and the things around that, how we protect the data. So we're going to make sure we maintain a yearly review of this policy and make sure we keep it updated. And in closing, the acceptable use policy provides the guardrails necessary to protect our digital environment while enabling innovation, collaboration, and academic excellence. It is a critical component of maintaining a secure, effective technology ecosystem across Maricopa Community College District. I appreciate your time and attention on this matter, and I'm happy to address any questions you might have.
Thank you, Mr. Spradlin. Now this is first read, but are there questions?
Yes, ma'am.
Dr. Thor.
Following up my earlier question about how we're going to sunset existing policies and implement new ones. I believe we currently have an acceptable use policy.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
this is a revision
Yes, ma'am.
of that. So the framework policy in this policy will become the first of the new set.
Yes, ma'am.
And with this action, we sunset the existing policy. Correct?
President Bittersmith, Dr. Thor, yes, ma'am.
So does the action item accomplish that? The sunsetting?
Ms. Stauffenberg.
Dr. Thorpe, President Bittersmith, members of the board, currently our acceptable use, even though we call it a policy, is an administrative regulation. So we would be cross-referencing in our administrative regulations frame that it is now elevated to a board policy, because that's really where it should live, because it's really setting the structure for what we expect.
Thank you,
Other
Janice.
questions for Mr. Spitling? Seeing none, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, we are now looking at, again, on the first read, the ratification of employment and separations posted on the 11/2025 board agenda. And it ranges from September 2025 to October 17. Board member, are there any questions? Seeing none, and the final first read, the employment and separations report for October 18 through November 7. Board members, are there any questions? Seeing none there as well. Move on to monitoring reports. And we have one, which is the budget analysis report for the general fund for the 12 months ending June 30th, 2025 is the final report. Any questions? Again, seeing none. And then we have the budget analysis for general fund for the 5 months ending 11/30/2025. Again, are there questions? Seeing none, then we're just about done. We need to do community linkage though. And I would like to start with our student trustee, Ms. Smith, who I know she has a report because we talked about it before the meeting. So
I do. Thank you, President Bittersmith. I was able to attend an amazing event at Paradise Valley Community College with Pastries with the President at the Festival of Tales. And then was able to see an amazing event. That was my first time at the event, to see literacy, the children getting books. I was able to get 2 books for my kiddo and we read that night, which was amazing. But I think that just being a part of that was definitely an opportunity to be able to see how literacy starts at such a young age and how education continues to be very important here in Maricopa Community Colleges, for sure. Then I was also able to have an amazing meeting with Dr. Hollins as well as Dr. Daniel at Mesa Community College. And this is, I guess I could say where the next part would be where the initiative kind of started from. May I start talking about that, President Bittersmith? Awesome. So I did have an amazing meeting, an enlightening meeting with Dr. Daniel and Dr. Hollins with regards to doing some, engagement with students. So I had a meeting with President Bittersmith and came up with an initiative for a student trustee to do a public forum. So that way we can start the engagement, start to regulate metrics, as well as start to understand more on all 10 colleges and campuses, what we really have to do as far as student engagement. And I started out with 5 phases to begin in January of next year. And then at the 5th phase, the student trustee, whether it's myself moving forward or someone else as a successor, we will present a report to the governing board, an engagement report. And that way, moving forward, there's standards that the student trustee will have moving forward. So that way we can present and then continue to build that progress moving forward. Thank you.
I wouldn't normally do this, but are there any questions for Ms. Smith? Because she's been busy getting ready. I think you see heads nodding. I think you're headed in the right direction. Just great. Thank you. Okay, Ms. Butler.
Thank you. I have no report except to wish everyone a very happy holidays. Hope you have safe and happy holidays, and we'll see you all back in 2026. Thanks.
Ms. Jacqueline Smith. There's still a lot of Smiths. This is going to just have to go on.
I appreciated the opportunity to offer very brief remarks and celebrate the finale of the 60th anniversary for MCC. That was really a wonderful way to celebrate student achievement, especially with the athletes and the legacy of MCC. So thank you for including me there. Happy holidays, everyone.
Thank you. Dr. Thor.
All the reports are going to be short tonight since we were just together. Last Friday, I had the opportunity to attend the mentor program Meet and Mingle annual event. And it was a terrific event. And I was very honored to have the opportunity to make some brief remarks on behalf of the board. And I won't spoil Marie Sullivan and Donna Davis's report by telling you that they were also there. And I wish everybody a happy holiday.
Thank you. Ms. Davis.
I was at the Linda V. Rosenthal Mentor Networking event. And I have to say, Dr. Thor, I love it when you make the comments. You do such a great job. So thank you for being there and doing the comments. After that meeting, I went to Estrella Mountain Community College, where a friend of mine, who is the executive director of the West Valley Arts Council, put together an event that featured a small orchestra, 4 people, and they had these violins that a friend of my friend, she collects violins and tries to rehab them to send them out to schools so that the kids can have musical instruments. But she had some violins that were beyond repair. So she gave them to the West Valley Arts Council, and they sent them out to various artists who drew art on these violins, and these violins were amazing. And so I would urge anyone, if you're out in the West Valley, like I am, that you go by Estrella Mountain Community College and go to the Performing Arts Center and look at these amazing violins. And then the concert that they had was wonderful too. It was all Christmas carols that I have sung my entire life. And it was all about the origination of those Christmas carols and where they all came from. And it was so interesting. So I really enjoyed that event. It was fun. And happy holidays to everybody. And I wore my ugly Christmas sweater specifically to wish everybody a happy holiday. And I'm jingling during this meeting. So that's my report.
Thank you, Ms. Davis. Dr. Narini.
Thank you. Let's see, on December 3rd, I was at the PCPA Site Council meeting. And on Saturday, the 9th, I too was at the Paradise Valley Festival of Tales. So I just want to make sure that I have the shirt on tonight so that I didn't forget. So it was a fantastic event. I mean, again, like I said last time, it really puts the community in college. So many people. And was it bigger than it had been in the past? It was huge. Lots of folks. But speaking of Paradise Valley, I also want to congratulate their student Adriana Mason, who is the national champion women's cross country champion for Division II, and she helped Paradise Valley take second. She was the first of 343 other runners, and she helped Paradise Valley take second place in the national in the national meet, right behind Mesa Community College, who is our national champions for women's cross country. And what's more remarkable is they did this in Iowa, where the high temperature that day was 37 degrees, and they still had their the shorts. Yeah, it was snow. It was a snowstorm. So it was fantastic. And so for the marketing team, those are some of the things we might want to play up a little bit more. And finally, I want to wish everybody a happy holidays. In the spirit of the season, I want to take a moment to recognize the staff of the colleges who do the food pantries, especially at this time of the year. They're not just a nice to do activity that we do; they're a must do. In a recent study, it was found that 43% of our students are food insecure. So as we go into finals week, please keep that in mind when the students are taking the finals, that they might be hungry. So with that, have a great holiday. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Dr. Narini. Ms. Sullivan.
Well, as Dr. Thor noted, I attended one of the most enjoyable events for me of the year, and that was the Linda B. Rosenthal session. Prior to the mix and mingle, I always have an opportunity to meet the mentees and certainly support the program. So as always, it means quite a bit to me to see the opportunity that you are giving so many people in this district to reflect and grow and be inspired by the leaders and their mentors. So thank you for that opportunity. It's with gratitude I appreciate the relationship and the opportunity to meet those folks. And then after that, I went to the mix and mingle. And because I had to leave early, Dr. Thor says I owe her a glass of wine because I left prior to the end of her comments. But as always, she does an outstanding job of representing us as a governing board. And With that, I want to thank all of you again for your contributions and your leadership to the district this year. Whatever you do in whatever role you have, you're positively impacting so many people. And we've just started the season of gratitude. So I'm grateful for all of you. I think we as a district are grateful for everything that you do and you contribute, regardless of what that role is. And I hope for joy and peace for all of you as you close out 2025 and begin the celebration for 2026. Happy holidays.
Thank you, Ms. Sullivan. Well, I spent Good Friday Saturday at Shop with a Cop, where our Maricopa County Community Police Department officers were participating. The chief was there as well too, although he and I didn't see each other. We were both there, I want you to know. And it was very interesting to watch our law enforcement team interact with the other law enforcement team and to see the good work they did. They spent all weekend doing different locations. And then tomorrow, I will have the opportunity to spend some time with Dr. Lashinsky and legislators from his neck of the woods. One bonus, we get to go have Christmas tea in the Artichoke Cafe. So I'm looking forward to that. And thank you for including me. That I think I actually sort of invited myself, but anyway, that should be a good opportunity to talk, getting ready for the next legislative session. And I too would like to offer holiday greetings and best wishes. Looking forward to a great new year. We're headed that direction here for sure. And so in light of that, for the announcement of the next meeting times and dates, we will have our normal agenda review on January 13th at 4:30. That'll be virtual. And then on the 27th, we will have a special meeting to elect new officers of the board, and then take a break, and we'll move in then to our regular board meeting at 6:30 here at the Rio Salado Conference Center. So seeing no further business in front of us, that concludes our meeting. Thank you for your attendance tonight, and the record should reflect we have adjourned at 8:20 p.m. Have a good evening.